At this point, I need Sincere to pick a struggle. How are you sitting there telling Melanie she's the one you want, promising her you're going to choose her in the end, but then you're over there collecting kisses from Saul? And I have questions. What are y'all up in that villa doing to Saul? I need to know. And y'all, while all of this is happening, Bryce somehow manages to embarrass himself even more. The villa turns into complete chaos during the challenge, and by the end of the night, somebody's bags are packed and they're heading home. Baby, we have a lot to unpack, so let's get into episode 9.
Kay Unscripted, no teeth restricted. In this journey, watch our stories unfold.
Hey y'all, welcome back to the channel. This is Kay Unscripted. I'm your girl Kay, and today we're breaking down Love Island USA Season 8 Episode 9. Now there's so much to discuss in this episode, but before we get into it, please take a moment to like, subscribe, and comment all of your thoughts below. Now let's talk about this episode. It starts off with Sincere pulling Melanie for a chat. He's telling her that he's for sure being a piece of shit and he knows that he's hurting her feelings, but that's the last thing he's ever wanted to do. He tells her that he does want to be in the connection with her, but Melanie's letting him know that her feelings are hurt and she doesn't feel like he's considering her at all in this whole love triangle. He's saying to her that at the end of the day he's going to pick her, but Melanie's not having it. She is more concerned about how many kisses he's shared with Saul, and now he's trying to downplay his connection with Saul by saying that the kisses were nothing. There was no substance in the kisses, and if there was a connection, it would have shown, he would have said something, but there's no connection there, and he's not going to be doing that anymore. He's not going to be kissing Saul. And I'm just like, but Sincere, you just kissed Saul again, so what are you talking about? Why is it so hard for you to be honest with Melanie about what is really happening? But Melanie's not really buying nothing he's selling. She's like, well, you said that before, but you spent the whole day connecting with her. So there is a connection there. So what's the plan? Now he says in his confessional that he doesn't want to end the connection with Melanie and feels like they're just at some rest stops and he's waiting to get to the destination. Now, here's what I think is happening here with Sincere. I think he does like both of the girls. He's also definitely feeling Saul a lot more, but he doesn't want to hurt Melanie's feelings, especially because she keeps crashing out, because every little thing that comes up and it's not going her way, she starts to crash out. And so he's probably being very careful. But is he being insincere? Pun intended. Absolutely. And I'm gonna need him to man up, because two things can happen. Either Saul and Melanie have a conversation and Saul is going to tell Melanie everything, or movie night is going to come up and all of your lies will be exposed, Saul, and you're going to lose both girls. So man up, make a decision. At this point, I don't even know what's going to happen with this situation with those three, but I feel like Sincere is really going about it the wrong way. Corbin's having a talk with Anaya. He's checking in to see how things are with her and Casey. She's like, well, we're good. And so he pivots to talking about him and Kenzie. He's saying that she's contradicting what they agreed upon. And so Anaya's telling him, just talk to her, express how you feel, because up in this villa, communication is lacking, right? And he's like, oh, no. It's not my communication that has a problem. I do communicate well, but people just don't be listening. So he's saying that yes, he has a connection with Kenzie, but she's also still open to exploring. He has no problem with her exploring and kissing Caleb. So why can't she be okay with him doing the same? And Anaya, girl, we've seen you throughout the season so far just being everybody's therapist. I'm gonna need to see you exploring some more, okay? Because we need to know more about you. We need to see what your other connections are. We did see you briefly have something with Sean that didn't go anywhere. You're stuck to Casey. You're here, you're there, you're everywhere in everybody's business. Girl, stop being a therapist and start exploring, okay? You spend this entire time in everyone's business as if you're their paid therapist. Girl, go explore, please. Okay. Now, as for Corbin, we all know that he picked Kenzie as a safe option. Do I really believe that he is into Kenzie? I don't think so. I don't think so at all. Okay. I just feel like this was just a choice. She's just a placeholder because I think he's really into Melanie. Okay. Now Zach and Casey, they're filling each other in on what's been happening, right? Zach is filling in Casey on what happened with Bryce and the fact that Bryce wanted to pull Kayda to see if she's interested in him. And immediately Casey was like, what the hell? Yeah, it sounded stupid to us all, Casey. Okay. Now Casey's like, well, what happened? And Zach also is telling him, well, he likes Kayda, but he feels like Bryce would drop Trinity in a heartbeat if Kayda gave him some attention. And I agree with Zach at this point, right? So then we see Bryce pulling Kayda for a chat, and they walk past Zach and Casey while they're on the dock. Now, I need to point out something that Casey said. He said Bryce is emotionally immature, and I have to agree with him because, like I said, Bryce was the same one who befriended a girl just to get to her best friend, right? So it's giving his slimy. Now, let's get to slimy Bryce. He's letting Kayda know that he feels some connection with her, and on her face you could tell that she is taken aback by that. Meanwhile, Trinity and Zach check in with each other. He's saying that to him the whole thing is just crazy, and clearly Kayda and Trinity are also close, so that makes it even more icky. Trinity says that every day she has grown more feelings for Bryce, and so Zach asks her, well, what if someone who's your type comes in? Are you going to switch up? And she's like, no. And I'm like, girl, you know you're lying. Stop it, Trinity. It's okay for you to want to explore, because as much as I hear her saying that she's really into Bryce, I feel like him making that decision has turned her off, and she's definitely going to explore if someone new comes in, and she should. Okay. So we get back to the chat between Bryce and Kayda. She says that she has this great connection with Zach, but she's still open to the process. But she lets him down really nice. And she said, look, I just see us as friends. And he's like, oh, yeah, for sure. He's like, oh, I told Zach, and he knows that you were always my second option. Bryce, be so for real. You just told him that. Stop. But here's where things get worse. He says, oh, he's only doing this to get all of the doubts out of his mind to fully commit to Trinity. Bryce, you can go home. You can go home, okay? Now, he says in his confessional that he's a little embarrassed, and I said, you should be. You should definitely be embarrassed. Now what? What are you going to do? You're going to go back to Trinity like a little puppy, wagging its tail, right? Yeah, you could go home next. Okay, so it's now bedtime. The girls are getting ready for bed. And Kenzie's raggedy ass is talking about, oh, it doesn't make me feel good that he's always asking girls for kisses. Kenzie, shut up. Okay, you thirsty, okay? Because you were just kissing up all on Caleb. So what is the problem? Y'all are so annoying. Why are you getting so in your feelings when y'all should be exploring with each other? Stop it. Stop it. Now then, Kayda's feeling the girls in on Bryce saying he's interested in her, and how she told him, yeah, no, that's not going to happen. I only see us as friends. And they start laughing about it, right? A big joke, because that's what it was. So then we see a little chat between Zach and Kayda, and she's like, well, I told him. No, Zach says he told Bryce that it was a stupid idea, and now things are awkward between them. And Kayda also tells him, well, I made it very clear to him that it's not going to happen, okay? They're just friends. Now, did y'all see how fast Melanie walked out of that room when Saul came in? Y'all better stop icing that girl out, because that's what it's giving, okay? So we get to the next day. Melanie's with Kayda. She's saying that she's going to give Sincere one more chance. Meanwhile, Sincere's talking to Bryce. And if I were him, I wouldn't be taking any kind of advice from Bryce, okay? Bryce the lies. He's telling Sincere that he did too much, okay? And even with making breakfast for both of the girls, it shows that he's prioritizing them both equally, and as he should, because he's still exploring. What I don't like about the whole sincere situation is that he is not being honest. That is where the problem is. But I don't see a problem with him making breakfast for both Melanie and Saul. I don't see that as him doing too much, okay? But that's just my humble opinion. Now Melanie's telling Kayda that her feelings are definitely hurt by Sincere, and yes, she has to forgive him because he forgave her, but he's doing a bit much with the exploring. He's shared 4 kisses with Saul, and it's too much. So we do see Kayda telling her, yeah, he is doing too much, and that Melanie has never kissed anyone outside of the challenge. Now Bryce is asking Sincere if he likes one of the girls more than the other, and he says, I don't know, but I feel like he's not going to say that out loud because he doesn't want anything getting back to Melanie. Bryce also tells him, look dude, it would be kind of stupid to throw away what you have with Melanie for this new girl. And like I said, I wouldn't be taking any advice from Bryce because he was also willing to do the same. And the only reason why it didn't happen is because Kayda didn't want him, okay? He would be singing a different tune had Kayda given him just a little itsy bitsy teeny weeny bit of hope, okay? Now we moved on to Kenzie and Saul having a chat, and I feel like this is the first time we've seen any of the OG girls chatting with the bombshells, and it leaves me to wonder if Kenzie now wants to befriend Saul because she's mad at Melanie. But anyways, she checks in with Saul to see how things are going. Saul says she's enjoying her connection with Sincere and just how easy things are, and she feels like he's really the only guy that stepped in to get to know her, and she's right. We also saw Casey say that he was attracted to her, but we haven't seen him get to know her, not once, okay? Neither the other guys. So Kenzie offers to be her friend and says to her she doesn't want her to feel alone, and asks if she needs anyone she can come to her. And I feel like Saul really appreciated that in the moment. So now let's get to Bryce and Trinity. He's like, oh, I don't like how we had a pillow between us. That's just not how we roll. And then he doubles down on what he thought he felt for Kayda, saying he doesn't really feel strongly about Kayda. And it was more so about any bit of doubt. Bryce, please get off my screen, okay? And then he's like, oh, what's going to happen when your type comes in? And Trinity's like, Bryce, please, okay? Because what you're trying to do is to flip the script because you got rejected, and you're trying to secure your spot in the villa because you realize you messed up, okay? Trinity then tells him that it's messed up because already they're a different race, and it doesn't feel good that he switched up for somebody who doesn't really look like her. And as much as he's saying he's going to keep reassuring her, I feel like she's over it, and she's just letting him give his 2 cents in, but she's turned off by Bryce. Again, like I said at my last recap, please send Trinity her guy, okay? So we could get Bryce off my screen. Kenzie and Corbin chat, and he's like, okay, let's get straight to the kiss, okay? I could have been hurt, but I let it be because you were right to explore. He said while he felt it was probably wrong to ask for a kiss from another girl, they're exploring, and that's what you're there to do. But she internalized it as if he didn't care about her, and that it felt like more so of tit for tat because he kissed her and knows that they have chemistry. But like he said, I can explore, okay? She's like, oh, I just don't like the lie. And he said, well, have I lied to you? And she's like, no. So Kenzie, girl, what are you talking about? Girl, not you making me want to defend Corbin. No. Don't put me in that position, okay? Anyways, we get to Zach and Bryce. They finally have a chat. They want to clear the air. And Zach clearly feels weirded out by what Bryce did. But again, we see Bryce trying to downplay what happened by saying, oh, it's just a little bit awkward, but it's not really that necessary. And I'm like, you brought it about. This is happening because of you. And you're so lucky that Zach is giving you so much grace here. Now, in the middle of the little chat, Corbin gets a text. It's about to be a challenge called Sweet as Pie. And they also find out that Teffy and Sierra are going to be coming to the villa to host the challenge. So let's get to this challenge because, child, it was messy. Messy, messy, messy. So the boys are on one side and so are the girls. And then we see Teffy and Sierra walking into the villa looking fly as hell, okay? So the game is going to be boys versus girls. And so based on the category, you can either share a kiss if it's a nice question or get pied if it's a naughty question. So let's get to these questions, right? The first question was, who is most likely to remember your coffee order? The girls go up first, and it was Kenzie who represented the girls, and she goes for Caleb and shares a kiss with him. The guys chose KC to represent, and of course he chose his boo Anaya. The second question was, out of the villa, who is most likely to ghost you? And so Saul represents the girl. She pies, and by her explanation, baby, we knew it was going to be Corbin, okay? She pied Corbin. Now Corbin, however, was the guy who went up, and he pied Saul too. And I don't understand why he pied Saul, okay? That was a little weird to me. But the next question was, who is most likely to defend you when you're not in the room? Kayda was the girl who goes up, and she chose to share a kiss with Zach, of course. The guys chose Gabriel, and he chose Beatrice. Guys, speaking of Gabriel, did you see the video going around saying that Gabriel don't be taking showers in the villa? What is happening? Tell me you all saw that video because I saw it. The people are not messing with Gabriel. Now let's get to the next question, okay? The next question was, who is most likely to throw you under the bus to save themselves? And clearly that question is about Bryce, okay? So Anaya went straight for Bryce and she pied him. He definitely deserved that. Bryce now chooses Melanie and pies her. She definitely deserved that one too, okay? Now the next question was, who is most likely to stop and help a stranger? Melanie Sincere. She chose Sincere, and she was definitely throwing that kiss in Saul's face, you could tell, okay? Now the guys chose Caleb to represent, and he kisses Kenzie. The next question was, who is most likely to sleep with their best friend's partner? Bryce, duh. But Trinity picks Corbin and pies him, and Corbin picks Kenzie, and I was shook. But he was more so wanting to know why they chose him, and so he chose Kenzie, okay? Because Kenzie is dibbling and dabbling too, okay? Now the next one was pie the islander most likely to string several people along at once, and clearly that was towards Sincere. And so Jen goes up and she said, I know you're sincere but you're not honest, and she slapped that pie in his face. We all saw that coming. Now Casey went up for the guys and he picked Kenzie. The next question was, who would most likely be the one to tell you if you had spinach in your teeth? Bia goes up for the girls and she chose Caleb and she shared a kiss with him. I was kind of surprised by that one, okay? Now the guys picked Caleb and he also kissed Bia. This was surprising. Is there something brewing between these two that we didn't really get to see? Interesting. And now the last question was, who is most likely to break girl code or guy code? Kayda chose Gabriel, and baby, he said, she said, I know in Brazil they love to share, okay? And she gave him that pie, right? Zach then goes up and he chose Saul, and she wasn't having it. We see Bia saying, though, in her confessional, that the boys kept on picking Saul for questions they should have picked Melanie for. And that lets me to believe that y'all are in there picking on this girl for doing what she's supposed to be doing as a bombshell. Stop it. Please stop. She was over the game. She started crying. She got emotional. She walked away. What are y'all doing to Saul up in that villa? So anyways, the game comes to an end. Melanie's talking to Sincere and she's like, oh, I feel bad for Saul. I think I should go talk to her because, she came in late. But also, Melanie, I know you're feeling like crap for flaunting sincere in her face when you know that she's also into her. And from the looks of it, it definitely looks like you have been icing out that girl because she's interested in sincere, and that's not cool. Sol is still emotional. Sorry, I was about to say Sol is still sincere. What the hell? Sol is still emotional, and we do see Casey going up to her and letting her know that he does want to talk to her, but when she is more relaxed. Now, Cynthia is talking to Gabriel, and he's saying that he wants to check in with Sol, and I feel like he should have just got up and checked in on her immediately. She needs that, but instead he's in his feelings. Gabriel is in his feelings about Bia kissing Caleb, okay? And he's annoyed about the way she spoke about him. And I'm like, oh, you're in your feelings? You kissed both of the bombshells and she didn't make it a problem, but now you're upset because she kissed Caleb? Please, Gabriel. So, anyways, Cynthia decides to go talk. No, Gabriel, sorry, decides to go talk to Bia and let her know that he wasn't really feeling the speech she gave about Caleb and doesn't feel like she's being honest with him about the way she feels about other connections. And Bia's like, what's the problem? I didn't say anything out of the way, but why are you so upset, right? And real talk, why are you so upset, Gabriel? So anyways, we get to later on in the evening and everyone's getting ready for the night ahead. Everyone gets dressed up and they're looking good. So we see the first chat between Corbin and Caleb, and they're talking about Kenzie, seeing how each other feel about her, and they're both saying that the connection is really good with her. Meanwhile, Kenzie's wondering if Corbin only picked her because she was an easy pick and always wanted Melanie, and I said that earlier, okay? And Kenzie's kind of clocking it, and I said, girl, now you're starting to put on your thinking cap because that's just what it is, okay? Now in Say Less, we have Trinity, Melanie, and Anaya. They're talking about the challenge and how hurt Sol looked. Melanie said, listen, when it comes to a triangle, when I see the other girl hurt, just have him, okay? As much as y'all are blaming Sincere for it too, I feel like Melanie is also at fault because you started this whole mess, right? Trinity says, girl, he's been so patient with you. And she's like, no, I'm the patient one. I've been patient with him. And Trinity said, no, you all both have been patient with each other. Because you're trying to take all of the credit, Mel. And I just didn't like how things went down. You could have handled that situation a lot better. I will say that she has been a lot better with the way she's handled the situation. But at this point, it's like people are just tired and walking on eggshells, okay? So we move on to Sol and Cynthia's chat in Speakeasy. She says she feels like she's getting cheated on for coming in as a bombshell. And Cynthia says, that's what you're here for, right? Sol breaks down in tears and feels like she's here for the same reasons as anyone else. And it's not fair that she's being treated this way. Now we do see Cynthia validating her feelings and telling her that she has the right to feel the way she does. And he reassures her that, listen, you're resilient, you're beautiful, please don't give up. And she can always come to him when she's feeling down. He tries to take her mind off things because he doesn't like seeing her sad. And I just truly think the best sides of Cynthia comes with Sol. But I fear that he is messing up the connection with her as well, because she is going to find out what he's been saying about their connection, okay? Now we then see a chat between Jen and Zach, and he's checking in to see who she's interested in. She said it's Gabriel, and then we see Gabriel chatting with Bia because he was feeling some type of way earlier about the speech from the challenge that Bia gave. Now Bia wants to know what's upsetting him and his homeboys, and truly it was just a miscommunication. Bia's explaining that if he's feeling someone else, tell her, and vice versa. And we've seen them say that so many times already, right? But he said he was just more so surprised by the words she said. Now we then see Ariana strutting into the villa looking bomb as hell, okay? And we already know it's about to go down, right? So she summons everyone to the fire pit, checks in to see how they're doing, checks in to see how the new bombshells have been doing, and then lets them know that America has voted for who the bombshells should be coupled up with, and everyone looks terrified, right? So 3 couples will be broken up, and that leaves 3 other islanders single and vulnerable. So the 3 bombshells, Saul, Jen, and Caleb, head to the front of the fire pit. Caleb is first, and the girl America wants him to couple up with is Kenzie, which makes Kenzie and Caleb a new couple. Jen is up next, and America chooses for her to couple up with Gabriel. And lastly, we have Saul. America chooses for her to couple up with Sincere. This we already knew, and baby, Melanie's crying her little eyes out, okay? Melanie says that she's just happy to finally end this. She's happy for them. They're a cute couple. She said she doesn't want to fight with Saul anymore, and I said, wait a minute, what do you mean? Melanie, have you been icing this girl out? Why didn't we get to see that? We need to know. We need the backstory, okay? Now, just when we thought this was the end of it, Ariana says that since there's 1 boy and 2 girls, he must now pick which girl he would like to couple up with. And so Corbin has to pick between Bia and Melanie. He picks Melanie, which means that Bia's going home, and all of the girls are in tears, okay? Bia said, why are y'all crying? I'm not dying. I'm just going home single. But that was the best attitude ever, okay? Now, just before she leaves, Gabriel lets her know that she's deserving of everything this life gives her. And I was really tearing up when these two had their moment. It was so genuine and real. It was really just a sweet moment, okay? Bia exits the villa, and y'all, this is where episode 9 ends. Child, this episode had me stressed, confused, and side-eyeing half of the villa. I still don't know if Sincere genuinely likes both Melanie and Saul at this point, or if he's trying so hard not to hurt anyone that he's making the situation even worse. And don't even get me started on Bryce, because the secondhand embarrassment was at an all-time high, okay? Now, before we end this episode, I need to hear from y'all. Do you think that America got the recoupling right? Are you rooting for Sincere and Saul, or are you still hoping he finds his way back to Melanie? And was Beatrice leaving the right call, or should someone else have been packing their bags instead? Drop all of your thoughts in the comments, because you already know I'm going to be down there reading every single one. If you enjoyed this recap, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video with your friend, and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye.